Okay. Now, it would be awesome, you guys, if every single phone call we ever did, we gave them 2 times, they picked one and they scheduled an appointment and that was it, right? But does that happen on every call we make? No, no, no. I see Gianna. She started last summer. So she's been making calls. She's called all of her initial network and she's been making calls on referrals for close to a year now. Okay. So she knows. We take for granted that what we're saying makes sense to them, but they're hearing this stuff for the very first time. Okay. So we have to make sure we're nice and slow. We're talking with confidence. We're talking with power. We're talking with a smile. So we keep them engaged. We make sure we're not monotone when we're on the phone sounding like this. It's not easy. They're going to think, oh my gosh, for 30 minutes, this person's going to talk to me like this. I do not want to do a demo with that person, right? Not good. So we got to make sure we're lively. If you need to stand up to do your calls, stand up. Okay. Some people, they only make their calls when they're standing up, but whatever you got to do it to make it right. But what's going to happen is more than half the time when you're contacting people who you don't know, recommendations and introductions, they're not going to just schedule a demo the very first time you offer the time. They're going to say something else. Okay. We call it a concern. In sales, they call it an objection. Okay. And learning how to be good in negotiation or influence is just learning how to deal with these objections, right? And by the way, objections is not just a sales thing. If you're a school teacher and you're trying to sell your students on why they should do their homework, right? You might get objections, right? And in their mind, they're objecting as to why this isn't important to me. Why do I have to learn this? Teacher, I'm never going to use this anytime in my life, right? You may have said that to your teacher, right? And your teacher was either good at selling you on why you should learn it, or they weren't good at selling you on why you should learn it, right? That they said teachers is like the hardest sales job of all, right? As teachers, because they're selling young people on why they should, why they need to, study and why they need to learn this material. So expect that they're going to say something other than just, oh, 230 is great. Okay. They might ask you, what is Cutco? That's why the reason we have these answers here, right, is so that you can have them at your ready. And once you've done them 100 times, then you don't even really need the script. But I've made 500 phone calls and I still kept the script right in front of me every single time, right? The professionals, even people who are in the millions of dollars of sales, they have their scripts ready for them just to keep them on track. Okay. So if they ask you, what is Cutco? Super important. Cutco is some high quality things for the kitchen and a few outdoor items. I'm sure you already have tons of things, but I get paid just to show it to you. So would 230 be good or 430 be better for you? The most important aspects of this little answer, one is I didn't go all crazy excited on Cutco. No, notice I didn't say, oh my gosh, it's Cutco. Oh, Ilani, you are going to love Cutco. It's the greatest kitchen knives in the world. They're guaranteed forever. They've got a double D. Nah, we just told them we are not selling. We're just showing. But all of a sudden, what am I doing? Selling. Okay. You have just shot your phone approach. Your likelihood of getting that appointment is low. So you don't get all excited. When we do the demo, we'll get excited, but not on the phone. On the phone, we say, oh, Cutco's some really high quality things for the kitchen and some outdoor items. Right? We want to be accurate and give them an accurate description and be transparent about it. But I'm sure you already have tons of these things. But as I said, I get paid just to show it to you. So at 115 or 345 be better for you, right? And you make sure you say the same times that you did before. So you want to have the times in your mind. Here's the 2 times I'm going to give them before I make that call. So when you get to that time part, I skipped over this earlier, but you don't want to sound like this. So would maybe 5 o'clock be good, or maybe something like 6:30? Right? If you say maybe or like or about, it doesn't sound like a professional appointment is being scheduled. It sounds like it doesn't matter. Okay. This is why the word for word script is actually important. Some of you guys might not like following a script. I didn't really like it when I was brand new, but as I started following it more, it started sounding more like me and being more comfortable. Okay. If anybody ever says to me, I don't want to do it that way because it doesn't sound like me. Okay. Well, that just means they haven't done it enough, because if you do something enough, it'll start to become part of you. Just like learning how to play an instrument doesn't usually feel right when you first start. Learning how to do certain things in sports, maybe learning how to lift weights the proper way. I remember when I had a trainer and they taught me, to hold my body by posture a certain way when I was doing certain things. It didn't feel exactly normal, but after doing it that way for a long time, now I only want to do it that way. It feels totally normal. Anything else feels like I'm not being very efficient. So it's super important. If they say, I already own Cutco, okay? How many people, if you've called somebody who said, I already own Cutco, how many people had that? Okay, cool. How many of those people keep your hand up if they bought something? Yeah, every single hand stays up, right? Best people to see are people who already have Cutco. That's great. How long have you had it? And then right here, important. See what's highlighted? Listen. right? I see some reps they just are so concerned with staying on the script, they don't actually take the time to be a human being and listen to the customer, right? So you got to listen at the same time. So that you listen, they'll say, well, gosh, I probably had it for 15 years, or they might want to tell you a whole story about how they bought it. Let them get you the whole time out. And sometimes they're terse and they just say, how long have you had it? They go, but about 2 years, right? And they'll just leave it at that. Hey, that's really great. Once they've finished, give them time to finish. Hey, that's really great. Hey, I'm doing this for the training and I'd love to get your opinion and maybe even some pointers. Plus I get the same credit even if you own it already. So would 1:30 be good, or would 4:15 be better for you? Once again, the same times that you gave them. I've seen some reps do phone time and they change the times every time after an objection. And it's really confusing to the customer. Okay. That's really key. If the time doesn't work, you want to offer 2 new times. Okay. Some people like to say, hey, is that a bad day or is it a bad time? And then based on their answer, if they say bad day, give them 2 times on a different day, right? Because you've got your schedule for 3 or 4 days in front of you. So you always have those right there. Or if they just say the time is not good, offer them the same different times on the same day. If they say I'm really busy. Oh, by the way, I was going to say something about the times here. If they say the time doesn't work, I can't remember what it was. If they say I'm busy, okay. Look, you guys, you need to know if they're genuinely busy. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say. Here's why we ask for 2 times, by the way, and not just say, could I come see you sometime on Thursday? Okay. If you say to somebody, hey, can I come see you sometime on Thursday? If they have 2 things to do that entire day in their mind, they are busy for the entire day. Okay. If they've got to get their hair cut or a hair appointment or a salon or a facial or whatever in the morning at 10 o'clock, and they got to take their kid to soccer practice at 3 o'clock, in their mind, they are busy all day. If I say, hey, can I do it Thursday? They go, I got this in the morning, got this in the afternoon. Now I'm busy on Thursday. Okay. But if you say, I've got an opening at 9 o'clock, I've got an opening at 1 o'clock, which is better for you, then they are forced to think about their day. Okay. And they're like, okay, well, I have this at that time. I have this at that time. I can squeeze it in at 1 o'clock. Okay. And in reality, here's a really important point. And when I learned this, I got really good at the phone because it helped me have a lot more conviction and I was much more persistent. And I had customers compliment me for being persistent. And you want to get that to that point. And they'll start offering you jobs, by the way, just based on how professional you are on the phone and persistent, you'll get job offer after job. I probably got offered 10, 15 jobs. Okay. Raise your hand if you've been in the business for a year and you've been offered a job. Okay. More than a year. Okay. I see NJ, I see Ron, I see Dana Lamar. Anytime, anybody who's been working here for more than 5 months, you're going to get job offers. Okay. So don't go take those job offers unless it's like the ideal dream job, but still, remember where you learned your skills. Here's what happens. Some people, they know they have a busy day. They know they have a lot of things to do in a day, but they haven't taken the time, and you probably can relate, to like really write out their schedule on a planner or on their phone, iCal or Google Cal or whatever. You probably can relate to this, right? You ever wake up and, man, I got so much to do today. And you're feeling overwhelmed, but then you take the time to kind of map it out and you're like, oh, actually, I got this. It's not that hard. So your customers need that little push sometimes to map out their schedule. So if they have a lot of things to do and they schedule a demo with you at noon, let's say, well, guess what they're forced to do? They're forced to start organizing their day a little bit better. And that customer, because they scheduled a demo with you, is going to get more done that day. Okay. You are doing them a huge favor. People who say, oh, I'm busy, probably they just don't really have a very good handle on their schedule. Okay. So you might not realize it, but you're actually doing them a huge favor whenever you do that. That's what I was going to say. So if they say I'm busy, hey, no problem, I'm busy too, but I really need to get in these 6 appointments by Saturday, and I can make sure to keep it short for you. Is that a bad day or just a bad time? And once again, because it's kind of like that time doesn't work, you just say, hey, so how about offer them the two new times based on their answer? And then they might ask you how long it takes. This was a tough one for me because my demos ranged anywhere from 30 minutes to don't anybody freak out, but 3 hours. Okay. I sometimes I would go to someone's house and they would want to feed me. They would want to cut everything in their whole kitchen. We'd make salads. I mean, and I never knew how long to tell them it was really going to be. Okay. I didn't want to say, well, it might be 3 hours because then everybody's going to say no. Okay. But I didn't want to say it might be 30 minutes because then if it was 45 or an hour, even hour and a half, then I felt like I was misleading them. Right. So what can you do in there? Okay. So here's the best answer that we have for that. And I'll give you an advanced answer too, just for fun. It's hard to know exactly since some people have a bunch of questions. Just the presentation part is, and based on your experience, whatever your presentation is about 45 minutes, 30 minutes. Some of you get it done faster. After that, it's kind of up to you. So which time would be best for you? Blank time or blank time? Because see, they didn't say they don't want to do it. They just are asking a question out of curiosity. And you know what? They don't even really care if it takes a long time. They just want to know, or they don't care how long it takes. They just want to make sure it's not going to take all day. Okay, that's kind of really what the question is. So anyway, I'll finish there. There's a lot more phone tips and some advanced things that I could teach you guys, but go to the mysouthlanddemo.com, click on the phoning tab. And I want you to, if you haven't already watched it, did you guys watch in training this Stacy Barton, the video of this girl making calls and scheduling calls all day? Okay, not all day, but she sits down and in one setting, she sits down and schedules like 11 or 12 or 15 calls, 15 demos, I think it is. And she's awesome. She's really, this girl sold $1 million worth of Cutco, and she's really fantastic to listen to. And it's really, really fun to listen to somebody who knows what they're doing, make calls, and she stops and explains what she's doing throughout. It's like, what is this video? It's like 8 minutes long or something. It's not very long. Also, there's other tips when you go to this site here. For those of you that really want to get good, there's tips on getting phone numbers. Here's some great phone tips. There's some really, in fact, we'll do a whole training on just that next page. And then at the very bottom, if you start calling people you don't know, all right, the phone approach to how to call somebody who's kind of acquaintance, and then how to call somebody who you've never met at all. These approaches are in here as well. Okay, some of the same elements that we just talked about, like the 2 different times and what have you. And then there's more answers to some of the questions, different answers, a lot more. So it's just a lot more. And then if they don't answer and you need to leave a voicemail, it even has scripts for how to leave a voicemail, scripts to leave text messages. All this stuff is in here. Did you guys even know that there was all this amazing training just sitting there waiting for you? You're probably mad that you didn't know about it. Okay, but I probably went about 20 minutes longer than you guys wanted me to, but I just wanted you guys to know that the phone is a key element of the business, and it takes practice to get good at it, which is why you should join the phone jams. And if you're struggling or you're challenged or you just don't feel like you're being as effective as you should, ask for help. Okay. If you make 3 phone calls or if you talk to 3 people in one phone sitting and you don't schedule any of the 3, stop making calls. Okay. Call your manager, or if you're at a phone jam, ask your manager to take you into a little breakout room, practice it one time to a person that's going to say yes, just to get your brain back in a positive gear, and then go back to making calls. And it's remarkable how people will make 3 in a row, or 3 people, not schedule anybody, practice it on their boss or a manager or an assistant manager. And just by having that assistant manager, even though it's a fake demo, it fakes your brain out. When they say yes, all of a sudden it opens up the floodgate of positive again, and they go back and they schedule the next 3 people they talk to, they schedule 3 in a row. Okay. I probably have seen that happen 100 times if I've seen it happen once. And I highly encourage you guys to use the managers, use your team members, use the phone jams to be the most effective. Because if you're going to work all that hard to get the names, you want to make sure, and then finally get them on the phone, because they don't always answer the phone. You want to make sure you're being as effective as possible scheduling those demos, because that is how you make money, setting up more demos in the least amount of time possible. And that is my tips on phone training today.